मीडिया, यूट्यूब चैनल्स, वोटर्स, सभी का महाराष्ट्र प्रदेश कांग्रेस कमेटी की तरफ से बहुत बहुत स्वागत। जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, आज हमारे बीच पूर्व गृह मंत्री, पूर्व वित्त मंत्री यहाँ उपस्थित है। साथ में महाराष्ट्र प्रदेश कांग्रेस कमेटी के प्रेसिडेंट नानाभाऊ पटोले जी उपस्थित है। मेरे सहकारी डॉक्टर राजू वाघमारे, चारुताई, गणेश जी, शर्मा जी, सभी नेतागण कांग्रेस के आज उपस्थित है। आज महत्वपूर्ण विषय है। 9 साल सरकार के हुए हैं, उपलब्धियां एक भी नहीं है। ऐसी आज देश की अवस्था है। किसान हो, युवा हो, महिला हो, जनता हर चीज से आज परेशान है। मैं आपके भी ज़्यादा समय न लेते हुए आदरणीय चिदम्बरम साहब से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि वे आपको संबोधित करें। मैं प्रांताध्यक्ष नानाभाऊ पटोले जी को विनती करता हूँ कि पहले वो आपको संबोधित करें। पहले मराठी हिंदी दोन्ही करूँ।
तानाशाह जो राजा आपल्या देशाचा आहे, त्याचे गेले 9 वर्ष पूर्ण झाली आणि या 9 वर्षात या तानाशाह राजांनी आपल्याला काय दिलं, आपला देश कुठल्या दिशेला चाललेला आहे, त्याचे 9 मुद्दे घेऊन आपल्याला या ठिकाणी देशाचे माजी गृहमंत्री, वित्तमंत्री चिदंबरम साहेब या ठिकाणी आपल्याला प्रेस घ्यायसाठी आलेले आहेत आणि मला विश्वास आहे की 9 मुद्दे जे या ठिकाणी मांडणार आहेत देशाच्या हिताचे मुद्दे आहेत. देश कुठल्या दिशेला चाललेला आहे नेमकं याच्याबद्दलचं वर्णन या 9 मुद्द्यामधून आपल्याला पाहायला मिळणार आहे. त्यामुळे मुद्दे अजून जास्त असू शकतात, पण त्याच्यामध्ये हीच 9 मुद्दे आज देशाची वाताहत करतायत आणि नेमकं याच मुद्द्यावर आदरणीय चिदंबरम साहेब या ठिकाणी प्रेस करायला आलेले आहेत. त्याच्यामुळे ते तातडीनं या ठिकाणी प्रेस सुरू करतील अशी त्यांना मी विनंती करतो.
Good afternoon to all of you. PCC President Shri Nana Patole, my friend Shri Atul Londe, office bearers of the Maharashtra Pradesh Congress Committee, Mumbai City Committee, friends. I have an opening statement. A copy has been distributed to you. I'm afraid it's only in English, but I suppose in due course the MBCC will translate it into Marathi and give it to you. I will read the statement so that it can be a basis for discussion today, and I'll be very happy to take questions from you. On May 26, 2023, the NDA government under Shri Narendra Modi completed 9 years in office. After being elected in 2014 and re-elected in 2019, the countdown to the next elections in 2024 has begun. From time to time, we have taken stock of the performance of the government. But the start of the 10th year is an important juncture. Let me keep my opening statement pointed and brief. At the end, I shall welcome questions. In my view, the top 5 issues are constitutional governance, defense and security, economy, social conflict and divisions, inflation, unemployment, inequality, and poverty. I have brief comments on each of the 5 issues. Constitutional governance. There is rising concern whether the country is being governed according to the Constitution. The Modi government has spread its assumed legislative footprint into subjects that are the legitimate concerns of the state government. It has curtailed the legislative and executive powers of the state governments. Governors of non-BJP ruled states are acting like viceroys. Parliamentary rules and conventions are violated. Debate in Parliament is becoming rare, and even calls for vote by division on important bills have been brushed aside. Legislation are pushed through without discussion and bypassing scrutiny by parliamentary standing committees. The central government's agencies have been deployed to destabilize state governments through false cases, threats of investigations, and arrests. There is scant respect for the verdict of courts, including the Supreme Court. Institutions that are the independent pillars of a democracy have been weakened or subordinated to serve the ends of the central government. While there is an appearance of a democracy, the tree of democracy has been hollowed out. The aim of these excesses is to bring the states and 140 crore people under one omnipotent and omnipresent central government. The danger ahead is centralism, as we have in some countries. Let me caution the people, if that day dawns, it will be the end of federalism. Defense and security. Contradicting the Prime Minister's statement on June 19, 2020, there is abundant evidence that Chinese troops have encroached into Indian-held territory and occupy it even today. The Chinese are furiously building defense infrastructure like roads, outposts, as well as new settlements along the border. More Chinese troops have been positioned on the India-China border. The reach of Indian patrols has been curtailed since the clashes in the Galwan Valley in June 2020. It appears that China has not yielded an inch in the numerous rounds of talks at different levels. The initial demand of the Government of India to restore the status quo ante as on May 5, 2020 has been cast aside and forgotten. Besides, the China-Pakistan axis has become stronger and the security threat has spread to every part of our border in the west, north and east. Our relations with Pakistan are more fraught than ever before. Parliament is in the dark about the actual situation and has not been allowed to debate the security threats to the country. Economy. The economy is growing modestly at a much reduced pace. We are compelled to raise very serious questions about raging unemployment, persistent inflation, widening inequalities, and stumbling welfare programs. The All India unemployment rate is currently 7.45%, and the labor force participation rate is about 48%. Prices are elevated and people are consuming less. The thoughtless, some would say even foolish, introduction of the rupees 2000 note, which the people shunned, and the mortifying spectacle of withdrawing the note have cast doubt on the integrity and stability of India's currency. Key economic indicators are pointing downward, and there is low confidence that the economy will reach the high growth path. The first 3 quarters of 22-23 recorded growth rates of 13.2, 6.3 and 4.4, a declining trend. The present situation is a far cry from the average of 9% growth that marked the boom years between 2004 and 2009. Social conflict and divisions. None believes that under the NDA government, India lives up to the lofty constitutional objectives of liberty, equality and fraternity. Social strife, communal conflict, intolerance, hate, fear and deep divisions among the people mar our lives every day. Freedom of speech and expression of citizens has been severely curbed through intimidation and slapping false cases. The BJP and or its affiliated organizations have fueled these trends with hyper-nationalism, vigilantism, religious intolerance, vandalism, hate speeches, and extrajudicial actions. Bulldozer justice has replaced natural justice. We are pained and shocked that the leadership of the NDA government has remained silent while the situation in the country has deteriorated year after year. The alarming situation in Manipur, the over 75 deaths, and the continued silence of the Prime Minister illustrate my statement. Inflation, unemployment, inequality, and poverty knock on the door of any average family. They will tell you how their lives have been blighted by persistent inflation and acute scarcity of jobs, and how they watch while the wealth of a few thousand people grew by leaps and bounds even during the COVID-affected period and thereafter, and how there are large and visible pockets of poverty and deprivation all over the country. The growing inequality between the super rich and the poor has exposed the skewed economic policies of the NDA government. There are 169 billionaires in India today, even as 22.4 crore people, 16% of the population, are poor according to the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. The outcome of the Karnataka elections demonstrated how wrong the Prime Minister, his government and his party were in their assessment of the political and social situation of the state. Governance and policies in a secular democratic country must give rise to a tide that will lift all boats. In that view, the NDA government has totally failed in the last 9 years. What is worse is that the government does not even make an effort to correct its mistakes and govern for all the people. It is our duty as an opposition party to raise these issues, and I'm happy I have the opportunity to do so in Mumbai.